welcome to part number 2 of the Link to the Past playthrough. We have to seek out the Elder to find out more information about the Master Sword. We need to get it to stop all the evil that's invading Hyrule. We gotta save the day, of course, why not? Your typical adventure game, you're the hero, you gotta save the day. If you didn't notice earlier, the map screen has a large blinking red X on it now. So it would be in our best interest to head in that direction. Go in this house right here. And, are you the Elder? Let's see. Oh no, you're not the Elder, okay. You haven't seen him. You don't remember about the Master Sword. You gotta remember these things, old lady! We need to find the Master Sword! We need to save Hyrule. And you say that it's sleeping in a deep forest? Okay. We need to find the Elder to find out more information. She says someone in this village knows where the Elder is, so now you have to search the whole village to find someone that knows where he is. And when I was playing this game as a kid, I could never find this guy. It took me so long. It's pretty obvious, he's sitting out in the open, but I just never talked to that kid. I don't know why. But if you talk to him, another red X will go on the map, so head in that direction. It literally took me 2 years of my childhood to beat this game for the very first time. I just found it to be a very confusing game, but I had a lot of fun with it, so I kept playing, even though I couldn't figure out some things. And I'll be pointing out things I couldn't figure out when we get there. You know, there's certain things. One dungeon in particular, it took me so long to beat. But I'll talk about that more when we get there. We're headed to the Eastern Plains, because that's where the Elder is right now. And the Elder will tell us where to find the Master Sword. But if you're familiar with this game, you know that we won't be getting the Master Sword for quite a while. We have to do 3 dungeons first. And that's the style that Legend of Zelda takes from now on. You do 3 introductory dungeons. They're sort of introductory. You do 3 pretty easy dungeons first, then you get the Master Sword, and then you go into the meat of the game, the meat and potatoes of the game, if I want to make a metaphor right there, or try to make a metaphor. And I think pretty much every Legend of Zelda game takes on this style from now on. Ocarina of Time does it, Wind Waker does it, Twilight Princess, I think it does 3, I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it does 3 dungeons and then you get the Master Sword. And I'm not really sure about those handhelds, but I don't really care about the handheld Zelda games. They're all really not that good except for Minish Cap and Spirit Tracks. Those are the ones I like. The other ones, they're good, but they're not as good as the console games. They're just okay. I think I'm forgetting one. I don't really like Link's Awakening that much. Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, I don't really like. Phantom Hourglass. I have a few issues with Phantom Hourglass. Nothing major, but just a few things that make me not really enjoy the game. It's definitely not as strong as Spirit Tracks. I love Spirit Tracks. I would love to do something with Spirit Tracks for this channel, but I really don't have a way to record DS games. So if you know how to record DS games and, you know, reasonable quality, I don't need anything amazing, but I just don't have a way to record it in, you know, anything. The only way I could possibly do it would be to grab a camcorder and record me playing the DS. But that would look really bad, seeing how it's a stylus game, you know, my hand would be in the way constantly. And I hate watching videos of people using a camcorder to record their DS. Or even their TV. It's even worse with their TV. Like, I can't watch that. I refuse to watch it. I can't do it. And I refuse to do it for this channel. I mean, you know, when I'm browsing YouTube videos, some people, they advertise their channels. And, you know, sometimes I'm bored, so I go look at it. And half of the time, they're just using a camera to record their TV, and it's so... I can't watch that. I can't watch that. How can anybody watch that? It looks terrible. And I don't really care if you don't have the best quality, you know, 1080p HD. That really doesn't bother me. But when you record your TV, I can't watch it. I'm sorry, but it looks really bad. And I assure you, I will never be doing that. I may not bring you, like, the best quality ever, you know, HD 1080p, but I'll bring you watchable quality. And I think the videos I've been putting out, they're good. They're pretty good. I have no complaints. And I'm assuming no one else does, because no one complains about it, so I'm guessing everyone else is fine with it. Yeah. Anyways, we're in the first dungeon. I forgot what it's called. They don't really tell you until you get to the credits scene. The credits has a list of all the dungeon names. I forgot what this one is called. I think it's called like the East Plains dungeon. Or maybe it's something a little bit more complex than that. I don't know. I'll put an annotation on the screen right now. And I'll tell you what the name of it is. I love that I can do that. It amazes me every time. If I don't remember something, I could just say, I'll put an annotation on the screen right now, and then I'll look it up and put it there. I don't know, I think it's really cool. I've never seen anyone else do that before, but I think it's cool, so I hope you guys think it's cool too. And look at this, it's a giant treasure chest, but it's locked, and we can't open it. Unlike normal treasure chests where we can just open it, you know, without a key. No issues. But this one, it requires a key, so we have to go get the big key. And that will unlock the big treasure chest of the dungeon, as well as certain doors that have special locks on them. There's 4 items you can get in each dungeon. I think it's 4 for every dungeon. There's the map, and the map is pretty obvious to what it does. If you open up the status screen, you'll see a map of the dungeon and what room you're in and what rooms you haven't been in yet. It's pretty self-explanatory. Then there's the compass, and the compass will tell you where the boss is located in the dungeon. That's useful, I guess. I guess it's useful for first-time players, but once you've played this game enough times, the compass becomes really useless. And so does the map. I mean, at this point, I've pretty much memorized all the dungeons. I struggle with some of the later dungeons because I don't remember where all the small keys are, but for the most part, I know the dungeons by heart. The third item you can get is the big key, as I described a little bit earlier. And the last item you can get, it's different for every dungeon. It's the main item of the dungeon. Like in this dungeon, it's the bow. If you haven't noticed already, I've been collecting arrows from jars. But we can't really use arrows without bows, or without a bow. So, yeah, we gotta get the big key, open up that big treasure chest, and the bow will be in there. It's different for every dungeon. I'm not gonna spoil it, but every dungeon contains a useful item. I think they're all useful. Yeah, they're all useful. In fact, there's really no items in this game that are useless. There's a few of them that I don't use very often, but none of them are useless by any means. And by going through the dungeons and collecting all the items, you'll almost have everything on the the inventory screen. There's a few things that you can find in the world map, but I think there's only 4 things you can find in the world map. Something like that. If you jump in that jar right there, you'll find a bunch of fairies. Great for regaining your health. And if you have the net, you can catch them and put them in a bottle. But you also need a bottle for that. So, I don't have any bottles yet, but I get all 4 of them during this playthrough. I normally just grab 2 of them. Yeah, I grab 2 of them because they're really easy to get, and they're in the same place. So it's pretty easy. For those Cyclops enemies, make sure you use your bow and arrows. It'll be 1 hit to kill them. If you use your sword, it takes 3 or 4, so obviously you should use the bow. And make sure you hit them in the eye, because if you hit them in the side or their back, it's not going to do anything. I think those guys are Cyclops. I don't know. They look really weird. Those obvious switches can be pressed. Sometimes they're fake and don't do anything. But there's always a real one, and it will open doors. So yeah, you probably didn't need my help on that, but if you needed it, now you have it. These red Cyclops enemies, they can't be destroyed in one arrow. It takes two, which is it doesn't make them that much harder. Still the same enemy, no new attacks. And what are those things that I just killed? Are they like tentacle monster? I don't know what they are. But I find that those enemies drop a lot of rupees. So if you need some rupees, go kill those enemies. Although there are some better ways to gain rupees, but if you're in the dungeon, kill them because they die in one swing. So it would be in your best interest. And here we are, we're at the boss, and I don't remember the name of it, but I'm going to call it Knight Group. Armored Knight Group, let's call them that. And for this boss, you're going to want to take advantage of the bow you just got and shoot them. You can hit them with your sword, but it's going to take more hits than if you just use the bow. I think it's 2 hits per knight. No, it's 3. It's 3. It's 3 or 2. I think it's 3. But they like to parade around the room. It's not that hard. Don't worry about any of their attacks. For most of them, you can just sit in the corner. When there's one guy left, he'll go berserk, turn red, and start jumping around the room. Just wait until he jumps on the ground, and then shoot him with an arrow. And then grab the medallion. I don't think I explained this earlier, but we need to get 3 medallions in order to get the Master Sword. This is the first one. I think it is the Medallion of Courage. Oh, Pendant, excuse me. The Pendant of Courage. And then we need to get the Pendant of Wisdom and the Pendant of Power. So we'll be getting those in the next 2 dungeons, obviously. And Wisdom, Courage, and Power, those are the 3 elements of the Triforce. That will be an important plot piece later in the game, but right now it's not that important. If you don't know what the Triforce is, it is that triangle formation we saw on the title screen. The 3 triangles put together to make a bigger triangle. That's what it is. I'll explain more about it later. But once you get through the dungeon, go back to the Elder, and he'll have a present for you. Actually, he'll tell you more about the remaining pendants. He'll even mark them on your map for you, so that's pretty cool. And look what he gave you, the Pegasus shoes. And with these shoes, you can execute the dash attack. And when you execute the dash attack, you'll run really fast forward, and you'll hold out your sword, and anything that you hit, it'll do massive damage. But I find myself using the dash attack more for running faster, and not so much for the attack. The attack is useful, but running faster is just... You'll see me running faster pretty much everywhere from this point on. And I'm glad that they gave us the Pegasus shoes in this game, because in other games I felt like you just ran too slowly. And yeah, we're gonna go after the second dungeon in part number 3. I'll see you then.